last lesson, we looked at one aspect of the New Orleans sound, and that was this kind of big, lazy triplet bass shuffle with a Latin tinge to it. New Orleans rhythm and blues was epitomized by the sound of Fats Domino. Fats Domino is, I think you could say, he's the king of New Orleans music, certainly the most popular musician to be associated with the city in the rock and roll and the rhythm and blues world for quite some time. And he had different facets to his style as well. And so you listen to Fats Domino's catalog and you kind of hear a whole cross-section of the New Orleans sound. Another feel or rhythm that we associate with New Orleans is the second line rhythm. And the story goes that you know, when the band is playing the funeral march on the way to the cemetery, it would be this dirge, "Nearer, my God, to thee," you know, and it's sad, and they're moving slowly, and they walk through the streets and they place the body into the crypt there. And once the body's interred and they've all said paid their respects, they turn around, leave the cemetery, and on the way back, it's party time, you know. And the drummer starts, and they're all playing sort of the parade beats, the marching beats on the snare drums, and people start to get in the pocket, and other people who didn't even know the guy who died, they join in, and pretty soon you got a parade going down the street, and it's got this cool kind of vibe to it. And that's what the second line is, you know, it's the second rhythm leaving the funeral, and it's found its way into lots of examples of New Orleans popular music. One kind of derivation of that is this two beat that we're going to look at this time. We know the two beat as, you know, got my mojo working, real fast blues kind of thing, or as a rockabilly thing, you know. This is another take on the two beat. The two beat feel is one of the fundamental feels in popular music. There's 4/4, there's the two feel. They're both essential. And if you get a handle on both of them, you've covered quite a bit of ground. So what we're hearing basically with any kind of a two feel is the alternation. It starts with the alternation in the bass of the root and the fifth. And that can be expressed in different ways. You know, we've heard it as the boom chick style. We've heard it as the rockabilly style. In New Orleans, it's very common that they double up on that, and it goes like this. So it has this kind of bounce to it, you know. Same tempo, same two notes, but that extra strike on each beat kind of lifts it up and makes you want to move a little bit more. What you hear against that might be sync in the guitar. And again, guitar is kind of a secondary instrument in New Orleans. There's piano, saxophones, and the drummers. You know, they got a big role in that sound for sure. So what does the guitar do? The guitar usually kind of picks up on some aspect of the drum beat. Now you could play chicks, right? And at that tempo, this would be what the chicks would sound like. It's interesting to note that Fats Domino had a record in the 50s, a number of them actually, that were heard in Jamaica because the radio stations broadcast across the Caribbean there. So Jamaican musicians were very familiar with Fats Domino's sound. And there's a lot of evidence that points to Fats Domino sort of inspiring the Jamaican pop recordings that created the style called ska. And ska is an upbeat, bunka, 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 bunka. It's almost like a two beat with a lift. And ska and reggae are hand in glove. So between New Orleans music and reggae and ska, a lot of crossover, very similar. It's not an accident that they have similar kind of rhythm arrangements. So we've got the chicks, or we've got right, where you kind of play a funky, scratchy little pattern and you find your spot within the rhythm. You know, different ways to interpret it, but those are a couple of basic flavors that we would hear. Let's listen and play. I'll play some examples of parts, and then we'll talk about the rhythm thing and segue into soloing. Okay, here we go. 2-beat in the New Orleans style. So that's the double up 2-beat. Playing a 12 bar, goes to the 4 chord. Drums playing more the parade beat, the second line rhythm. Here's the 4. And up on top, I can put a scratchy part like this. Yeah, all right, and I hit the ending there with the band. That gives you sort of the skeleton of the sound. 2-beat. The drummer's very syncopated. So we can imagine that upbeat being a steady thread, even though nobody's exactly playing it, and then I'm kind of echoing what the drummer's playing and getting that little kind of lighthearted groove going in the middle there. This is reminiscent of a Fats Domino song called Hello Josephine, which is a classic. It's got all the ingredients laid out, and just it's like a textbook. When you listen to it, you say, ah, that's a classic 2-beat arrangement right there. So listen to that song and you hear exactly what I'm talking about. Now, as far as the song is concerned, when there's a solo, there really isn't like an improvised solo. It's the horn section. Right? They play a theme, and it's based on what we call riff chords. Right? And as a soloist, if I have the freedom to kind of extrapolate that, I can take those ideas and build them into something that'd be slightly different, but still within the same territory. Let's see what happens. I'll play a little solo over that groove and see where we go with that. All right, a little bit of everything in there, but it was mainly built around third intervals and a melody. And I had the sound of Hello Josephine in the back of my mind. Adjusting for the chord change. Right, very melodic, very sweet, very even major scale-ish. And then thought I'd get a little bit more rock and roll, and continuing with the double stop idea, I can play another double stop bass theme, but not quite so pretty and melodic, maybe a little bit more in the Chuck Berry type vein. And sure enough, those ideas fit pretty comfortably over top of that rhythm. It's literally, in this case, the melting pot of music, where we've got different influences coming in from different places. And, got that 2-beat feel. 2-beat is also fundamental to Latin music. So it can be expressed in different ways with syncopation, or as that steady back and forth quality. You got the upbeats that eventually would resurface as ska and reggae, You've got those little scratchy rhythm parts that we would hear in all kinds of funk records down the road a piece. And the double stops are common to all different styles of music, but we hear them in rock and roll. And so all this stuff circles back around, and in the end, you've got your vocabulary of ideas that you can apply over top of just about any groove you want. So send me a recording of yourself playing a 2-beat, and find the spot in that rhythm. Listen to Hello Josephine, find your rhythm, and then take a solo and see, can you find a stylistic approach that suits the feel of the vibe of that kind of rhythm pattern. Relaxed, melodic, and yet forward, got some energy to it. All right, look forward to hearing it.